Hey guys, welcome to our podcast today. This is the all-round bad bitch, Victoria Walker. She is an international practitioner and educator. So honoured to have you here today. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for
I
inviting
know
me.
you're a busy girl. So what have you been up to lately?
Well, as you know, I moved abroad recently, so my life changed a lot.
Yeah, big drastic move, that one.
Yeah, why not? I
I
gave up
know.
a lot of what I had in the UK in terms of my training company. I do still teach for other academies and on a smaller scale, but my main focus has been what we used to call the PAA, which is now the Mentorship Collective. So it's an online platform teaching practitioners a variety of things from building your business, skills, knowledge, complications, you name it, we
Amazing.
teach it.
I think it's really great to have a place once you've done a course to go to where it kind of like answers all your questions, continuing that development of your career.
But it can be a lonely industry, and I think
It is a lonely
you
industry.
see on these forums as much as I do, like it's harsh. They people are ruthless.
I've come out the forums. I can't deal. It gives me anxiety, honestly. Like a poor beginner in there, just generally like asking a question. You're just like,
You jumped on.
you jumped on. No. So
So it's
it's a
nice to have
nice,
that kind of safe space.
yeah,
That people are not going to be judged, that they can just ask something what we might think is a stupid question, but to them, they're just on starting on the journeys or wherever they're at, they've not come across
yeah. And
the
sometimes there's so
situation.
many opinions from different people. You get yourself confused, especially when you're on these forums, because it varies so much. So you just get a little bit confused when you're new to the industry because there's so many ways of doing things and there's so many different products such as Botox. It's always the Botox questions in it, how many units, and they just like, woof. So yeah, I think that's a really amazing idea and I love that.
Thanks. I think people, you never know what people have been taught, do you? People are taught in different ways, and you hear what some people are taught, you think, what? So it is good to have that kind of all
Exactly.
round support.
And actually going off from that point, obviously we're in a time where it's very strange in the industry at the moment. Regulations coming in, but nobody knows what's coming or when it's coming. They've kind of just left us in the dark. There's
Yeah.
been like a poll going around that we've all been filling in, seeing like where these treatments are going to lie on a traffic light system. And I do believe the industry desperately needs
I
regulating
agree.
because
It's the
this
Wild West.
it's the Wild West. And we know with training, like you can train whenever and wherever, like you don't have to be doing it for so nothing's checked, is it?
No.
So there's training academies everywhere and not necessarily doing it right or teaching the correct ways. But what's your opinion on the regulation?
Absolutely, it's needed. Something is needed, but I think
Do
the
you think non-medics should be stopped?
absolutely not. Like I've had a training company. I've been teaching for 6 years. I've taught medics, non-medics, doctors, nurses, beauty therapists, and trust me, there is good and bad in all. I've retaught one particular mental health nurse. She'd been on a medical only course with 12 other people and had been passed on injecting a quarter of a lip.
Honestly, this is my bugbear because
2 injections, she's passed, and I just think,
my ex was actually a medic. He was a dentist and he did a Botox course with a very famous medic training company in Manchester and he didn't inject. He didn't inject at all. They was watching and I retaught him how to do Botox. And I just think just because you're a medic, you don't necessarily know
yeah.
aesthetics.
Well, it's
You
like a
genuinely
hierarchy, isn't
don't.
it? I think people assume because you've got that background that you don't need to learn as much. And it's just like, hang on, who taught nurses, doctors, dentists, aesthetics at uni?
It's a whole new skill set. It's
Absolutely.
completely different. And I think if it's regulated in the right way, it could make the industry so amazing and available for everyone.
It needs to happen, doesn't it? Something needs to happen, but this hierarchy, I think, needs to stop. We all need to begin at the same level. And what training providers are teaching to students needs to be assessed.
It, oh, I think it's honestly the training's fault.
That's where it all starts. If you regulate the training providers, regulation throughout the industry that's going to be hard to control isn't going to be as essential because you've took it right from the root.
I
Because
agree.
that is the root of the problem.
That's where it's coming from.
I mean, we had a
Training.
conversation earlier on where we know students who genuinely believed they were practicing correctly using illegal Botox.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I see it all the time. People coming in, what products do you use? Oh, I use Inatox. And I'm like, use Inatox? Yeah. And
No.
they've no idea that it's not even legal. Like, you've not even got insurance. You're paying for your insurance.
I
but
mean,
you
how
will be bought.
dangerous? Dangerous in a sense of they feel like they're doing the right thing. Not that something's necessarily going to happen, but from an insurance perspective,
They've just trained and trusted.
yeah.
And
How did
won't
they
be
not know they need
insured.
prescriptions? How did
Because
it just blows my
going
mind?
into the industry blind. They've no idea. So I think if all the training is regulated, it will be such an amazing place. And obviously, we do fast track courses. I'm one of those academies that teach non-medics on the fast track route. And I've said it before, I'm the longest fast track there is in the industry. But even in my opinion, it's not long enough. But I have to just train to the best of my ability for what the industry requirements are at the moment.
Yeah.
And I make sure, they've got all the pre-study, they've got the aftercare support, that like they have lots of models, and nobody leaves my academy until they're confident. And I will bring them back, and I will take that hit financially. But this isn't happening in all the other academies. Like, you can do beginner to advanced in 3 days. And I've spoke about this so much, and it's so wrong. And I myself am trying to keep some kind of standard in the industry, but it just doesn't seem to be happening everywhere else.
You need that common ground, I think, with training providers. I saw a girl I know, I've got her on social media, I think day 3 into her journey of aesthetics, she was an advanced practitioner. And I
Yeah,
just thought,
it's crazy.
hang on, what makes you advanced? Because you've not got experience, and people signing off on pathways courses, they've not really done the pathways elements, but so they say they've got to have the 6 month or whatever, they're signing off on the bits that they've not actually done just to get them to the injectables because it's quick cash for training providers.
Yeah.
And it's so wrong. But I see people doing it that necessarily don't agree with it, but they're doing it to get the business because other companies are doing it. And I just think...
And since this regulation talk, it's gone worse because people are panicking. Training providers are panicking, and they're offering so much at like cut prices now because no one's training. So we're actually in a period where it's dangerous. It's so dangerous at the moment out there. And the quicker this government announcement is, the better. And hopefully it's going to go in a way that's fair for all to practice, because it's not just an industry that's suitable for medics. It genuinely is. And I truly believe there's so many amazing non-medic practitioners, like
knowledgeable, skilled. I guess I've been sent quite a lot of messages from people, old students, people who follow me in the industry, asking what I think will happen. Do I think that they're going to lose their careers? And I think, especially since COVID, the government has proved time after time their pockets come before people's safety. As awful as it is, that's a fact. The government is a business. We as an industry, what is it, 2.3 billion we bring in to the economy, and a huge portion of that, 80% of that, is made up of non-medics. Imagine all of a sudden overnight non-medics can no longer practice. How much tax and VAT do the government lose? Then you've got your degrees at university. Suddenly nobody on the doctorates and nursing degrees actually want to be a medical professional. They want to be an aesthetic. So what happens to the healthcare system? What happens to the NHS?
I know so many non-medics that are just signing up to be a nurse at the moment, just to go.
It's not viable for the government to say, right, non-medics can't do this. And I think if everybody thinks logically, that makes sense. It's not going to happen. Imagine the unemployment. Imagine the housing that's going to be needed. If all these people, thousands upon thousands of practitioners, suddenly have no career.
I think it's going to cause, if that did happen, like major mental health issues.
It's not going to happen. What is going to happen to that massive void that we pay in tax and VAT? It's
so
not.
Do you think anyone that's doing the CPD courses are going to be safe to practice still?
So what I don't think anybody's career is going to be taken away. I think, and I hope, we're all going to have to prove with regular examinations that we're at a certain level to practice. So in Gibraltar right now, regulation has come in. There is regulation. You have to apply to the medical board. You have to prove you're a medical director, because you need things like prescriptions for whether you do Botox or not. You need your emergency kit. You need some kind of medical oversight.
We need medical oversight, for sure.
Regardless. So that's already come into play. And And what they're trying to do, they're in discussions right now, is there going to be some kind of assessment, annual assessment that we need to do? So as a doctor or nurse, you have to submit your CPD points every so often to maintain your PIN. You've got to re-register to maintain your PIN. We need something like that. And that's ultimately, it's not a fast thing. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's not something that's going to happen within the next few years. But I think that that's the way it needs to go. In Gibraltar, it's easy. There's probably 7 practitioners. Granted, there's very, very few people that live there. It's easier to regulate.
Yeah.
But the UK is going to take time.
What do you think about the level 5 and level 7 Ofqual? Do you think that's going to be a thing?
I'm undecided.
Yeah.
I think it's a fantastic route to go down. I've signed up myself, not from an aspect of I need to know more, not for an aspect of I think that it's going to save my bacon. Neither of the two. I think as a practitioner in the industry, I owe it to my clients, I owe it to my students to know as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
I'm addicted to learning. I never feel like we all know everything. So why would I not do it?
I kind of feel it makes you stand out a little bit,
Absolutely.
knowing you're a level 5, level 7 practitioner. People know that you've invested that time and, you know, you've invested into your career. It gives people the knowledge that these are not overnight qualifications.
That's what's going to whittle out the good and the bad.
Yeah.
So I don't think people are going to lose their careers just by having CPD, but I do think there will become an obvious divide between who is investing in their education, their careers, and who's just kind of heading down the back street.
I agree completely. I actually think it's going to be compulsory, but you don't, do you? So
No, I don't.
I think at least it will make you look more credible as a practitioner. And I definitely think it's something to work towards. Once you've done your CPD, if you're serious about a career in the industry, we all do need to start leveling up.
Yeah.
And
I think why the hell wouldn't you do it?
yeah,
Even though I don't think it's compulsory. That's not me saying I don't think you should do it.
yeah.
In my opinion, do it because you want to do it.
Same for the academies as well. I think all the academies need to start offering these qualifications because
Give a
once you're
choice.
and once you're an Ofqual centre, it's kind of easier for the public to differentiate between academies as well. So they'll know who's been through the thorough checks, whose teachers have been checked, you know.
Like prior to you being Ofqual, how many times did your academy get checked for what you were putting out to learners? Because mine never has.
Not once. It was never checked. Even though I had a standard myself and wanted to deliver quality courses, nobody else gave a shit.
And I think that's where people are going to stand out with the level 5 and level 7. So yes, I do agree with them, even though I don't think that will be the route that the government take. Like you said, would I choose to go to somebody that I know is getting vetted and checked as a training provider? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It does set training providers
100%. So to summarise, we think, and I think I've got the same opinion as you on the fact that I don't think they're going to take people's qualifications from them. I think there's a lot of scaremongering in the industry at the moment, especially coming from the medic side.
Have you heard of the grandfather law?
Grandfather rights, is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? It's something very similar happened to me. So before I was even in aesthetics many years ago, I was dental nursing, and I left school and just fell into a dental practice on reception, and I was just in and out the surgery helping out. And then it became you had to be a qualified dental nurse. You couldn't just help out. So the dental nursing became regulated, and if I would have had 3 years experience, I would have been classed as qualified. And if I didn't, which I didn't at the time, I had 3 years to become qualified and I could stay working. And I think that something very similar is going to happen because I've been through regulation before when the CQC came in and regulated dental nurses. So something very similar is going to happen. There's always that 3-year period to meet requirements.
That's it. You're going to be given that period of time regardless.
As well, depending on your experience and how many years you've been doing it for, by the time it all comes out, I think that's going to count towards something as well.
Absolutely.
Your CPD is definitely going to be counting towards.
Not just going to come swipe your whole entire life away. Do you know what I mean?
No, they can't do it. And I do think there's a lot of scaremongering around these qualifications at the moment.
Yes. And the scaremongering, I think for certain groups of people to not want other groups of people to be in the industry. So they're using it as doctors are not going to be able to, only doctors and nurses are going to be able to practice, non-medics not going to. And I just think, trust me, I have seen the good, the bad and the ugly from both sides. And it does exist in both sides.
It does. It genuinely does. And we don't need to get into it because People make mistakes, and it doesn't matter who's done it. So the good, bad, the bad, the ugly, in any new career, there's going to be mistakes made,
Yeah.
and it's the support that you've got behind you.
If you're too afraid to say that you've made a mistake and reach out for help, that's what makes this industry dangerous.
That's what's scary.
Aesthetics is not an exact science. Things are going to happen. It's how you deal with it that matters.
100%. And whether you're a doctor, whether you're a nurse, whether you're a non-medic,
It doesn't make you
beautician,
foolproof.
doesn't make you foolproof. Mistakes are made. Lumps, bumps happen when you're just starting out. Like, an occlusion could happen to absolutely anyone just because you've got that medical knowledge of where the arteries are, and so do non-medics. Like, it can happen. Like, everyone's anatomy is so different. You're kind of unlucky if it does. It's how you manage it afterwards, and as long as you know how to manage it and deal with it, and you've got the clinical oversight and you've got your emergency kit, why not?
The best way to make this industry safer is to stick together, support
Honestly,
each other.
it really is.
If people are worried about other people making this industry unsafe, then support them.
And what I
Use
don't
that
understand about
superiority
the
to
medics
support.
training that will only teach medics, why? If you're so bothered about the non-medic training that's available, train us.
Exactly. I'll tell you why, because
us
there are
to the right
companies
standard.
high up, certain awards, certain events, certain magazines that threaten medics, that if they're involved with non-medics, they can no longer feature in the magazine, they can no longer be up for awards, they can no longer attend events. So that's fear-mongering itself within the medic world, because this company is quite influential and will hinder your progression as a medic. And I've seen it firsthand when I took over the International Aesthetics Awards. I had a panel of some prestigious medics that were all sent me what they were sent and threatened to not be a judge for our awards because we support non-medics. So I've seen that firsthand.
Wow. It's crazy. I can't wait. I actually cannot wait for regulation. I just think it's going to put an end.
And maybe then
on
we can have just
this.
an even...
An even
like to
keel, a
think.
brand new
Yeah.
slate, and hopefully, because otherwise it's going to be crazy. Like, it'll go underground. The government cannot do this. If there's a brain cell in that panel,
But you see,
this
like,
cannot happen.
smoking, for example, it's legal. It's so dangerous, it's legal because it's taxable.
Yeah.
So if they
Alcohol.
take it away and it becomes like drugs, where people are doing it backstreet, because they're not going to stop, are they?
No.
They're not going to stop. It's
No.
never going to end. All of a sudden, they're still doing it, but the government are no longer benefiting tax-wise. It doesn't make sense. That's why they're looking to legalise certain drugs, because the government want the money.
So true. So I hope this kind of clears up a few things for people. And don't get me wrong, we haven't got a crystal ball. We don't know what's going to happen. This is just our opinions and
Logical opinion.
logical opinions. So what's next for you? You've got the awards coming up.
Yes, so I'm judging a few awards towards the end of this year.
Amazing.
And then the International Aesthetics Awards is on the 21st of April. Entries close 1st of December. So if you fancy...
All of my students need to get themselves in.
Yes,
It's going to be
which you are a
amazing.
judge for.
I'm going to be a judge. I'm not going to be biased. It's for bum filler, and none of my students do that yet because we focus predominantly on beginners. But yeah, it's going to be amazing, and I'm so excited.
It's going to be the best awards gala you've ever attended, I promise.
Ever. And we'll see you all there. And
Yes.
if you've got any questions about the membership that Victoria's got going on, it is amazing. I've been in it myself and got loads of information from there. It's definitely worth doing. How much is it?
£25 a month.
For £25 a month, honestly. Get yourself in there.
Spend more on Costa, I bet.
The Membership Collective.
Yeah, the membership-collective.com, or look for the membership mentorship.
None of us can speak today.
It's because you said membership. Mentorship-collective.com, or look online on social media for the International Mentorship Collective.
Okay, guys. So have a great day.
Thank you.